Hi, everyone. My name is Bruce Lombardo, and welcome to A Girl, a Guy, a Bear, and a Movie. And today we are discussing the 1999 John McTiernan classic, The 13th Warrior, based on a book called The Eaters of the Dead. I believe it's Michael Crichton.
Hmm.
He kind of has a movie that he cobbled together off some pre existing parts that were previously assembled and not a film that was received very well to test market audiences. And this is the film that we received. Bear, did you see this
Mm.
movie in theaters?
Yes, I did.
Awesome.
I also
Was
auditioned for it.
say again?
I also auditioned for it,
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it
but
was
Uh,
filmed up there.
I auditioned for the first round of it when Schwarzenegger was still attached to it.
so you would have had a set with Sven Thorson and Schwarzenegger.
No, I didn't get the part, sadly.
No, if you would have been accepted though, that would have possibly been the you would have been on set with one of the two of the greatest men of the '80s cinema. I mean, they're still alive, thank God. But I love Sven Thorson and of course Schwarzenegger. He's celluloid legend material now.
Yeah, no. What happened was is when they did the first round of casting, I was tall enough at 6'3", but I wasn't built enough. I was big, but I wasn't buff, and they wanted all buff guys. It was the original version of this film was going to be very, very different than what it turned out to be. And I'm kind of glad that it didn't happen the way they were planning to do it because it would have been awful.
Would have been like Predator, but in the snow.
Yeah, a little bit. That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah.
Janet, you saw this film in theaters too, correct?
Yes, I did.
Holy shit!
I had to dress up as the cannibal queen. I thought
The
she was,
mother of the Vendel.
yeah. So, yeah, I saw it in theaters and I loved this movie. I even cried a lot. I teared up a few times this time, and I've seen it like 72 times. But yeah, it's good. I hate your camera on here. I don't look as good as I do on mine.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
sorry, it looks fuzzy. I tried to fix it, but can't help it. All right.
I don't understand it because Bear comes out crisp. My little green hell. Uh,
Well, zoom in on him and
marker.
see if it does.
Say
Put
again.
him put him up there by himself.
Put you.
No, him.
Okay.
Yeah, he looks pretty good. Maybe it's just my camera. Maybe I need to wipe it down.
I do look pretty good. It's a very, very, very fair assessment. I'm a very good looking man. Thank you.
But yeah, I'm not supposed to look good. I'm supposed to look like a cannibal. But I made this bra a long time ago for World of Warcraft, and I haven't gotten to wear it yet. So I figured, hey, she's a cannibal. I'll wear it.
You were a World of Warcraft player?
No, but I wanted to dress up as one.
Ah, okay.
But
Well,
yeah, I really love this movie. I thought it was great, and I think it stands up still after all this time.
I'm not going to disagree with that. I've watched this movie probably once every 5 years, and as much as I kind of groan about certain things, they do get some parts of the culture very correct, and I'm very happy about that. And I've never read the book Eaters of the Dead. Friends of mine have told me that if I've got nothing to do on a rainy day, go ahead and pick it up. It's worthy of it.
Mhm.
But I just haven't done that yet. I do want to say hello to Crafting Gamer, to Hungar the Starbarian.
Oh, hi, Hungar. Hi, crafting.
Nerd, TCG, baby
Baby
girl, King Eric. There you
Thank
go. I
you.
guess I had it.
Eric.
So, yeah, this movie we saw on opening night, and the theater was kind of packed full a bit. About maybe 20 minutes into the movie, there were people that were groaning, and we had some people actually leave the film about the halfway point. I don't know why. I didn't think the movie was horrible. I didn't think it was like celluloid gold either at the time, though. And I really appreciated the moment when he's just sitting there around the Norsemen, just letting them talk and learning their dialect, learning their language. And
Yeah, there's a problem with that, eh? There's a problem with that sequence.
Why?
looks like it's all one day because they
Yeah.
don't cut it to like him sitting at a fire at night listening to them and stuff like that, which I'm sure the original cut had in it because McTiernan's not that sloppy a director. But they did
No.
so many re-edits on it. I think that got left on the editing room floor. So that's whenever I hear people criticize this film, the guy learned Viking in a day, and it's like it's clearly meant to implicate time passage, but it's true they don't present it well. I heard
That
you while
is
we
the
were
word
watching
I
it
got from
complaining
it.
about how long something took, and that would take 5 days. You have no idea how much time passes in this movie because they don't set it up well.
No.
The passage of time. So
Well,
it's
that's not how I saw it at all. The scene that where he's sitting there because his father was helping explain to him as he was finding out before he became the 13th warrior, was chosen for that. When they're sitting around the fire and he's listening to them, I felt that he was given the gift of speaking in tongues so he could understand what they were saying. And when he spoke, they understood what he said. So that's how I took it because he was religious and he prayed to God. So that's
But
what
you
I
understand the point of this movie and the story is that reality is the issue, not people's fantasies. That's why the fireworm is just guys with torches and the animal
Mhm.
men are just dudes and stuff. There's
So
no
why was he on his
no
knees praying to
supernatural in
nobody?
this movie. That's the point.
I know, but to him, he believed. He was a believer.
Yeah, but that
That's
doesn't
why he's
make it
praying the
real. It
whole
just
night.
means he believed it, Janet. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
he suddenly got
So
powers from God.
that's what you think. I'm telling you what I
No,
believe
that's what the
that I got from the
director
movie.
thought. That's not what I think. That's what the
Well, I
director
never
thought.
met the
That's what Michael
director.
Crichton thought. That's what everybody creating it thought.
Mhm.
So that's that it's fair that you can film is objective. You can project your own thoughts onto it, but I mean
But I
that's a
think that's one reason why they may have edited it the way they did, to leave that sliver in there for someone who might watch it that is religious, that might believe that he was given a gift from God to become the warrior, 13th warrior, to help him fight alongside these men and become friends with them, so they'd want to have each other's backs. That's my point of
that is
view.
what it is. We'll agree to disagree on that one.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I just am a gamer, and so whenever the bard was gathered around the other warriors, and he's just you know, day in day out, they're all talking about things, and he's just there observing, just listening to them cut him down, talk about his mother, etc., etc. He
And
uh,
his horns.
he was acclimating himself to the environment, and he was learning what exactly he needed to say. And it's just as a passage of time, and he had skill points to dump into languages or whatever it may be, but however you may view it, he got the ability to communicate with them, and that was just something that we have as a byproduct of the narrative.
So, what was his character?
What was his character?
Yeah.
I view him as a bard because he talked
Oh,
about
no,
poetry.
never mind what you view him as. In the story itself, what is he?
He's supposed to be quote unquote the 13th warrior, but
No,
to me,
in Baghdad, before he goes on this
He was a
great
poet.
adventure.
yeah, he was a
He's
poet.
a linguist.
Yeah, he's a linguist.
Exactly. He's a man who works with words and language.
Yeah.
He's probably been exposed to so many things. Like Omar Sharif's character. How many languages does that guy speak?
All
Right?
of them.
So there's
All.
that. That's the thing. So it's to show how smart he is. It's to show how intelligent a character he is, which is why you have that moment where he's completely overwhelmed by superstition and fear of the Wendell until he stabs one and then starts doing that pace where he's going, he's a man. He's a man. He's a man. And the moment the rationality kicks in, he becomes death on wheels for the rest of that scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the message that's being sent by the film is that get over superstitions, don't fall for these things, and do things with your brain. How did the old woman say, oh, suddenly there's a black piece and the 13th warrior won't be a Northman? She saw him when she walked in the room. He was obvious. He stood out in a room full of Vikings, right? So she's going to do her witchcraft bullshit and pull out a black one. Because she saw a guy. That makes her seem like a more magical person to her people. This is what the movie is all about. It's all about how mysticism is overcome with rational thought.
Mm-hmm. Superstitions.
I just there's some commentary like he's really not a Muslim if he's speaking in tongues, I don't really view him more as a Muslim. He's just kind of like a product of his time. He might have the backdrop of being from a Muslim or primarily area, but if you just kind of nod your head and say, "Yeah, we're praying to Allah," blah blah blah, most of them not going to fuck with you. He's a learned individual. He probably sees things for how they are. He has his own opinions. He just goes along with whatever. But whenever he goes on his little trip here, or what's commonly known in the Middle Eastern world as the Hajj, where he's an ambassador, uh, he behaves more like a Christian of that time than more of a Muslim, because a Muslim wouldn't be wanting to partake in the drink at all. He wouldn't want to be sleeping with the women if he's going to be a quote unquote a proper Muslim for the history books.
Right, but he's a bad man. That's the point. He gets kicked out of Baghdad for sleeping.
Yeah, he was fucking that guy's wife.
Right? He's not a good Muslim, and that's the point. Is that he is very pious and very devout and very much a part believes in Allah, and he's all about Islam, but he's not good at it. He's a bad Muslim, and that's what this whole adventure does, is that it reassures his faith in God and allows him to see a larger world. I mean, this is an incredibly deep film. It's an incredibly subtle film, and it's an amazingly beautiful film, because if you actually look at that film, you want your mind blown. McTiernan only used natural lighting for shooting.
Mm-hmm.
He banned electric lights from the set and did everything with fire. You know what I mean? Like, that's insane to make the movie look that beautiful. You know what I mean? His DOP was on point. So this movie is so deep in so many ways, from the writing to the directing to the visuals to the story. And that's why when Michael Crichton does all his reshoots at the end and makes the mother of the Wendell from an old fat woman to what Janet's dressed as, it just becomes Hollywood all of a sudden in these little moments. And it's really annoying, because McTiernan probably made this amazing fucking film. But you're right, people didn't get the film because they wanted an action film. And that's how it was marketed to them. And they didn't.
It was still with action.
Sure, but it's not an action film. It's a drama.
I would say more of a drama.
And it's a great film.
I think it was wonderful.
It does not get the credit it deserves from most people. It is such a good film.
Okay, just so you understand, Bear's talking about the Wendell mother, and there is a still here from the Majestic from 01. And this lady right here was supposed to be the one they dressed up as the Wendell mother, Grindel's mom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Susan Willis. She's an actress. She's no longer with us. But when they got her in costume, it wasn't really going to fit the type of imagery he wanted. Yeah, it would have been close to the book, but
yeah, but it was actually Crichton felt it didn't look heroic to have Levi kill an old woman. He was kind of like, and that's what he felt, which is crazy. But what are you going to do?
There's a problem with that, and I can completely agree. Like, have the young lady who, let me pull her up, Kristen Klock, and she's beautiful.
She's like Janet. She's too hot.
Yeah.
She's too hot.
Smoking hot.
Well, the other wise woman is what Indians used to call the women that would pass down information about healing, spirits, all types of things like that. But the old woman that they talked to before they left was the one that told them to look for them underground, basically. The wise woman from them. She was an older woman. Mm-hmm. And she was laying there and they were all looking at her like she's nuts. The men, the women, they tend to listen to her because, that's just the tradition, is that the women pass down the information about growing things, how to care for children and, things like that, sewing. So that's why they would tend to sit around and tell stories about different things that happened in their past, things like that, just like the warriors would pass information about different battles they had and who did what in a fight, things like that, and who they took down and what their trophies were, those type of things. That's traditional, that's what they've done since the beginning, of all tribes, is passed down the lineage from the male into the females down that way. So that all that made sense to me when they went to the woman and she told them, and then it was a little bit of everyone putting pieces together to figure out where they would find these people. But to me, they seemed very advanced because they kind of looked at them like they were some type of um, when you hear about cannibals and stuff, you think they're primitive, because they're eating each other and stuff. But to build that bridge and some of the things that they did, and to have their cave underground, that was pretty smart to think about it. Had water, all the water they needed, things like that, and lighting, so they were very organized, to be and look, their numbers were, huge. So they've been doing a long time when they got in there and saw all those skulls and stuff. So, and it was hard for Antonio Banderas' character when he saw the skulls and he said, I was wrong because they're not men, because he saw them as demons basically after that. And it was hard for him to realize that a man could do something like that to another man. And that was hard on his religious side of his persona. So
I'll be right back. I got to go downstairs before my package gets stolen because the delivery guys can't follow fucking instructions. I'll be right back. Sorry.
I love delivery fucking people. Lazy delivery people are great. Yeah, I love this movie. This is a fun movie to watch. Good film for young men with their children to kind of gather around. Okay, this is why we like Western civilization. So you don't have to deal with this shit all the time anymore.
Well, yeah, but really, superstition is part of our history since the beginning of man. Basically, when they saw the sun go up in the air, and the sun go down, they believed that something was eating it or whatever it was, or if he had a total eclipse. All those things affected the people on the planet and the animals. Especially when they would see the animals acting a certain way, they would know that there's going to be an earthquake or there's going to be a flood or storms were coming, things like that. Over time, you learn those things. Just like, what was it? Some of the Mayan, that Mayan calendar, and everybody was freaking out over it because, they thought for sure that something bad was about to happen simply because what was on the calendar that they had left supposedly from us being able to read it today. Things like that. So it's really interesting. I mean, we're still learning stuff from our skies, and we haven't even found everything there is in our oceans. So I think superstition and religion and things like that are a part of our culture, and they always will be. It doesn't matter how advanced that we get, or even with AI or technology. There's always going to be religious people in the world to believe in certain things. And traditions. I really do believe that very strict families will pass down, different things that they've done for generations in their families, coming to their weddings, different birthdays, or other different things for different holidays. They're going to have traditions for that. And Thanksgiving isn't really a religious holiday, but you can still pass down that tradition of celebrating certain things that way with family in certain ways. So I think that'll always be around. I don't think that'll ever go away just simply because we become, enveloped in more technology with AI and things like that. I think we'll always have some types of religious aspects in our lives and traditional stuff. So, did you get your package?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
I did indeed.
Not Your Echo says, I don't think a final boss character works for a general audience. It doesn't come with a fight for the hero or heroes, especially with action cinema. The old boss, the old lady, the final boss, it wouldn't have done well fall flat. Yeah, we agree with that. And that's pretty much what we said. We don't want to see the person just slaughter an old lady with very limited ability.
Is that one of the reasons they brought in the second director? Because the people that watched the movies earlier, that they didn't agree with some of the ending or something like that.
The second director was Michael Crichton, the guy who wrote the book. Mm-hmm. So he came in and tried to fix the film. Michael Crichton is not a film director. Let's get something very, very clear about Michael Crichton. He's many things, but he's not a film director. And I don't think his changes were good. And I think one of the problems is that this is a perfect example of the dumbing down of Western audiences to the point where everything Nacho Echo just said is exactly how studio executives think.
Mm-hmm.
And by treating their audience like idiots, they've programmed over the last 20 years to become idiots. And that's why films that are good and deep and have meaning no longer succeed, because people don't understand them. They can't watch them. They're just, you know? And that's a sad fucking state of affairs for the world of cinema. Oh, well, this is life.
I want to see. I would like to see kind of like the original cut the McTiernan made, but I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the movie. I didn't say that. The movie had a score by Graham Rebel that I'm not a big Graham guy. Okay, I'm not into his
What else
stuff.
has he done?
What?
What else has Graham Revell done?
He's
He's a fairly forgettable guy. Let me pull that up.
I'm curious what this meant. I
They
mean,
didn't
Goldsmith
use
is
any
great.
of it that I know of. They didn't use any of the original that was written.
No, they rescored it completely with Goldsmith. That was another Crichton choice.
That's the good Crichton choice, I feel.
I don't know. We never heard the original score. We don't know if it was good or bad, right?
Okay, so I'm gonna. There's one movie that's in his top 4 on IMDb that looks really good. The other 3 are absolute ass in terms of and sound. Yeah, for The Crow, which the original score for The Crow was good,
Mhm.
but The Saint, very forgettable score. Lara Croft Tomb Raider, very forgettable, and a horrible soundtrack, I might add. And Daredevil from 03, again, very forgettable. Now let's go into
So many reasons though why fucking Daredevil sucks and is actually a genius comedy.
We'll go over that here in about 3 months when we review Daredevil 2003.
Oh no! The only way to watch Daredevil is with riff tracks.
What?
I love Riddick.
Okay, that movie there, that's like the worst of the trilogy in my opinion.
I still loved all of them.
I only like near Pitch Black.
Pitch Black was good.
Right.
I liked the Chronicles of Riddick, but it needed a little bit more budget, a little bit more pizzazz. It's a good movie in my opinion. It's just not great. It did The River, Shark Night, but he's not good with, like, none of this stuff is super rememberable. Unthinkables at a 7. I've never heard of that.
Mhm.
Pineapple Express, forgettable stoner movie. Street
Yeah,
Kings.
I don't know any of these.
Street Kings is Chris Evans and Keanu Reeves, Forrest Whitaker, but I don't remember any of the music from it. I don't remember humming the tune after it was over at the theater. The Condemned, he was composer for that. I was not a fan of that movie. Janet loves it.
I loved it. I thought it was
Well,
great.
the editing for the fights is ass. Anytime you have shaky cam fight scenes, I'm done. Fuck you.
I
I'm
like
out of
the
the theater.
story. I like the story, the way it all folded, and that one day we could possibly go there in reality for the direction our country was going. So I thought it was very well done.
How was The Condemned? I don't remember this movie.
I think it was Stone Cold Steve Austin starred in, didn't he?
It is.
Yeah. And I don't know that much about. I don't even watch wrestling, but I also love the Young Flux too. I thought that was a really, really good.
I need to see that movie because I love the cartoon, but I know the cartoon is going to be much different than the live action.
For which Aeon Flux?
I thought it was
Yeah,
good.
Cartoon
Aeon
is
Flux.
so much better. The live action movie loses all subtlety.
That's terrible.
I like Sin City.
Cincinnati's
See,
not
I
bad.
like a few of them.
It's
The
okay.
thing is, I don't always want a score that I actually sing along to during the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jaws, I remember, dun, 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 I remember certain things from it, but the way it was put in the movie, it didn't bring me out of the scene. You see what I mean? And
No.
so many movies I hate when I leave because I'm like the
That's
freaking music
that's
took me out of
editing. That's
everything
sound
that I-
mixing. The sound mixing, if it jars you too hard, it could be a great hummable tune. Like the Chronicles of Riddick and Pitch Black have really hummable music. However, there's some sound mixing issues in Chronicles of Riddick where it's like that just jars you out of the theater seat.
See, I
And
don't remember that.
Daredevil.
And Dune, I love Dune. So it was good too. I don't remember anything bad about the music or ruining it for me.
This is a
That's the
video game. This is a video game from 01, Janet.
Oh, that's from a video game? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
then that's
He
why.
he did the
I
score
didn't
for
play the game.
Okay. He did the score for Blow, which I don't remember. He did the miniseries of Dune, all 3 episodes of that. But Graham Revel, oh yeah, and he did Titan AE, which I only remember one part of that movie.
Hey, he did Pitch Black too.
Yeah. So he's obviously got a good rapport with David Twilly then, the director for all 3 of those movies.
Well, it looks to me from you going down this list that I don't know a lot of these, but people had faith in him because he got hired a lot. So
one of my favorite movies is on this list, but nobody ever remembers it.
I thought Spawn
was King's great film.
Yeah, I saw that and I liked it.
Yeah, I showed you that movie. He also did.
You ever hear the story about the script read for Suicide Kings?
No.
So the first day of table read for Suicide Kings, all the young guys showed up being young actor guys, and then Chris Walken showed up with a binder with his script and notes, and was like, they were not prepared, and he was just killing them all. Oh, he did Tank Girl. I love Tank Girl. And then day 2 of table read, all the young guys showed up with binders ready to work. It was like amazing. Craft's fine, Spawn's fine. I don't know. I think this guy does hit or miss work. You just don't like hit or miss. Hey, you don't have to like him.
It definitely is hit or miss. The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, great movie. I remember the very end. There's a scene with the 2 ladies in their fight, and that was when the sound mixing kind of got overboard. But other than that was good. Child's Play 2. I remember that movie very well because I remember my mother hated it. I'm there watching it on TV. All right, well, I'll stop showing off Graham Revel. The guy, he had a bad score, and they got it redone. The 13th Warrior soundtrack is definitely buyable and listenable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's Goldsmith. Has Goldsmith ever done a bad soundtrack?
I've never heard a bad Goldsmith soundtrack. That guy there, didn't he perish a few years ago?
Yes. Goldsmith
yeah, he died in a plane crash.
Did he? I don't know.
I think so.
He died in 2004 in Beverly Hills.
Oh, my bad.
He was 75 when he died.
There was another composer that died from, he was a pilot.
Died of colon cancer. That's sad.
It is.
So he crashed in a plane? Is that what you're saying?
No, he didn't. Goldsmith didn't. Goldsmith died in 2004.
Yeah, but you just said something about a plane. That's what I was asking.
There was another composer that died in 2009 or 2012 that he was a pilot, or 2015, 9 or 12. It's one of those 3 years. And he perished.
Oh, that's Horner. That's James Horner.
James Horner. Thank you. I always got those 2 mixed up.
Well, to be honest, that's not hard. They have a very similar sound.
Yeah. So
the original writer is the one that put a Muslim character in it instead, because I know they added that character to make this movie.
No, they didn't. The original story is about a Muslim from Baghdad coming up through the north and meeting the northern people, Janet.
Yeah, I want to say this movie takes a lot of beats from the book, but the book was partially inspired by the Walking Drum by Louis L'Amour.
Well, there was a legend, and then they made up some stories around the legend. But no, the book was written about this character.
Well, I didn't read the book. All I was doing was reading some of the trivia about it, and they had said that the original script, The Eaters of the Dead, that they didn't have anything about some of the stuff that they added to it in the second part of it when the new director came. So that's why I was assuming that they added a character that probably wasn't even in the other story. So that's why I was assuming that.
Well, there could be, because the first script of that fucking thing was a Schwarzenegger film. And people don't know that, and you never see that said anywhere. But I was at the casting call. I remember it going out. I remember being told, hey, you're auditioning for a Schwarzenegger film. And I'm like, what's it called? Eaters of the Dead. I'm like, what a fucking weird name for a movie. And then, because I'd never heard of the book at that point. It was the 90s. And then found out later that, Schwarzenegger gave up on it to do something else, and then they retooled, and it became an Antonio Banderas film. But they created a myth. When Eaters of the Dead came out as a book, they tried to pretend it was based on legends and scrolls that had been found about this man from Baghdad coming up through the north and being an ambassador and all that kind of stuff now.
Because it says here on this one thing I found, it was on IMDb, it said that his character was added to lend the story historical credence as this, however you say his name, Ahmed, really did travel north from Baghdad and encountered Viking men. That's why they added it to this script.
And that should be why you worry about IMDb trivia, because it's not always accurate.
Well, I'm not my job isn't to make sure everything that they write on their thing about each movie is, factual. I'm just giving the information. But the thing is that it also said that Antonio Banderas said that was one of the reasons why he signed on to make the movies, because he wanted to be in a movie with Omar Sharif. So I think that was a good reason, but it may not be true either. I mean, since it's from that app.
So Ibn Hamad Ibn Fadlan Ibn al-Abbas al-Baghdadi was a real person, and he did travel north and met the Volga Bulgars. Mm-hmm. So that's what it's been loosely based on, is him.
And if you guys live in North America, I've got some chatter here talking about where they can see this movie. It's not on, I don't believe it's on Paramount, but we just watched it on Tubi. If you like Tubi, if you've got an account there, and it's not going to cost you a dime.
Yeah, that was pretty good on there.
I was really impressed with the movie. I thought this movie was very well done. It was the end result that I got to enjoy numerous times over my life in the past 26 years. Holy shit. It's been a reliable watch. It's been one of those movies that you turn on, you can almost turn off your brain, but if you keep it engaged, you realize just how layered and textured the movie really is, and how much they actually tried to keep this film to where it's almost kind of like a thinking man's action movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. But I definitely thought it was an action movie. Not complete action, but that it had lots of action in it with the sword fights. And I loved the banter between the men as they grew to be friends. Because, the way they filmed the sea, people would think it took them 2 days, at sea. But basically, it took a long time for people to travel by sea back then, when that was pretty much the only way to get from one place to another, from one continent to another. And the fact that they made Antonio Banderas' character, seasick, stuff like that. And the whole thing about him having an Arabian horse and then barking like a dog to make fun of it, because they had these huge giant steeds and he was riding this sleek Arabian horse. And I just thought that was great, the banter between the men, because that's what men do. They want to outdo each other and prove their manliness in front of other men. And when he was a smaller man, just because of where he grew up and his lineage,
Genetics.
I loved it. I thought that was very realistic, and I would almost bet they had a lot of fun, just picking on each other and stuff in the movie while they were making it. I just loved it. And the whole part where he takes the giant sword and ends up having it cut down because he can't hardly swing it because it weighs, a ton. Little things like that I really enjoyed, because it did make it more believable for him to build up a rapport with these men if he's going to fight side by side with them to help them protect this one village, or kingdom, or whatever you want to call it. So I liked it. I thought that part of the movie was definitely realistic. And the part where he's crying or whining, saying, ouch, to the woman when she's putting the ointment on his wounds to try to help him. And then he's whining when he realizes, because he's so paranoid, that he's using unclean filth on himself because of his religion. And then she tells him what it's made of, cow's urine. And he's like, I don't want that on me. And she said, okay, fine. Tomorrow when you have a fever and you got pus coming out, then And then he nodded his head in agreement that he let her put it on there, and look how much better it looked the next day. So, I just, little things like that is one reason why I really enjoyed the movies, because they made it believable for the time that they were supposed to be in, for me at least, to believe that that's the kind of way that a woman would treat a wound back then. And that the parts that the women did play, like taking care of the children, and then when the one woman went in, the queen, and handed them a bunch of knives to take out the children, so they wouldn't be taken by these cannibals. I thought that was sad, but I believe that would be something that, a warrior's wife would want to do for her children, basically, to protect them. So,
My
sad
favorite
but believable.
My favorite line is when she's cleaning his wound and he goes, "Ow," and she goes, "That is a woman noise." Like, that's just my favorite line in the whole movie. She just basically calls him a bitch,
Yeah.
which I think is a well-played scene.
It's uncommon to her. She didn't grow up seeing those type of things. Men react that way because they grow out of it. Because once they're out amongst the men, before they're probably preteens by the time they're not whining when they get boo-boos and stuff, because that wasn't the way they grew up.
I'm thinking that like these guys probably practice like their seamanship and their sailing in their childhood years, and then by the time they've hit puberty, they're already going on their first raids, baby's first raid, etc., sort of thing. I that's just kind of how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong with the Norsemen, but from the stories and songs I've heard from Irish people, uh, they always seem to fight these real big, tall Viking kids, and so like probably having a Viking raider from ages 15 to 20 would be pretty commonplace, I think.
Well, yeah.
Um, Bear, that was your favorite part of the movie whenever he basically gets called a bitch by
My favorite line in the movie.
a favorite
I mean,
line.
it's an eminently quotable film.
Yeah,
I cannot lift this. Grow stronger. Like, it's just the pragmatism of the Northmen that is so appealing in the way they do the story. Lines like, "Come along, old friend. Your head is gone in search of your hand." Things like that. These are great moments in the film. Or just, "I don't talk like that." Like, fuck, this stuff is
Yeah, when they were sitting around the fire, to me that was also very believable for a group of men that grew up together, basically, and sitting around a fire, and they don't really know what's lying ahead of them. But they know it's going to be some kind of battle. They just don't know what it is, and and they got a stranger amongst them, so they're kind of whispering and talking about that stranger, and tell the stranger, and they look at him when he realizes, he goes, don't talk about my mother or whatever, and they all
My
look at him
mother
like, how does he
was a
understand
good
what we're
and
saying?
noble woman,
Yeah, so I
and at
just thought
least I
it was
know
so
who
much.
my father was.
I
Jesus
know.
Christ.
I just loved it. I thought it was very good. I thought it was very well done, and the acting I thought was phenomenal for the characters. I thought the acting was great, and I recognized two or three of them from other movies like
Yeah.
Underworld and a few others that I thought were good in those movies too. So
The
I
Scottish
really
guy,
enjoyed it.
the Scottish guy played Van
Duran.
Gogh in
Mhm.
Doctor Who,
Yep.
and he was amazing in that role, like absolutely astounding. And he
Mhm.
was one of the head aliens on that show. What was that fucking show? It was tied to a video game about aliens crashed on Earth and changed all of society.
Resistance.
No. It was like a Western. It was set in St. Louis. What the hell's the name of that damn show? Anyway, he was one of the main aliens on that. So very good actor, that guy. Very, very good actor.
Tony Curran, isn't it?
Sorry?
Tony Curran.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he's also Scottish, and so like if you caught, he's wearing like a tartar during the a lot of the movie. Yeah, so
Tartars were the things on the horses that they ran away from before the Vikings showed up.
he's wearing some Scottish garb,
Yep.
is what I'm trying to state. And normally Vikings wouldn't, but because of his heredity, he's like, I'm going to showcase this, and they really didn't have a problem with that because more than likely, they might have got him from a Scottish colony as a young boy, and he just grew up with them as they are. That's very possible, especially in Viking cultures where raiding and acquiring children is a part of life. I mean, granted that they never get the ugly little skinny kids; those are put to death. But they always get the pretty girls, and they got the big boys, and would raid and capture them, and then assimilate them into that society. That's just kind of how it is. It's the way of the world, the way of history.
Yeah, the show was called Defiance. That was the name of it.
Defiance. Okay, I was thinking Resistance for some odd reason. I apologize.
Was it Defiance? Wait, am I crazy?
But the
That
scene
was
where
a PS3 game.
the scene where the guys were poking fun at him and poking fun at him and his horse, barking and stuff. And he got on his horse and he started running around and jumping things, showing the what a wonderful horse he really did have, that it was a great horse, that he was proud to have this horse. And then he ends up jumping over the other guy on his horse. I just love that whole scene. It makes him fall down face first in the mud. But their reaction to him, proving he was a man and that he knew how to ride this steed, whatever, they loved it because it made them respect him, because he put them in their place to show them, hey, see, I'm capable of doing this. And then when he told them that you're going to be a warrior after tonight, I just liked it. I thought it was very believable. What I would believe if I was a fly on the wall, because there isn't going to be a woman around, not in those times during that type of stuff that was going on at that night. They would have the women, tucked away somewhere else. But the fact that the way they talked to each other, I just thought it just seemed very believable to me that it unfolded that way for me to see the men. It's like the guy, he gets they get beat up, and they're both griping about, oh, my shoulder hurts and my knee hurts, this, that, and the other. And then some women walk in and they just say, hey, what's going on? They put their chests out and act all macho, and they don't tell on each other, because they both know that both of them were just griping about how they were hurting. So to me, and I've been around a lot of guys, most of my friends were guys growing up. So I'd see them do that and then see the girl walk by and they puff their chest out and act all macho, even though they were whining about the rodeo the weekend before and how they're all hurting and everything. So I loved it. To me, it really did seem like the writer of the script and the actors knew how to act with each other to portray their characters to make them believable, at least to me as a viewer of the movie. So it's sad that other people didn't see it that way, because I definitely love this movie and I've seen it, over 45 times. And I still love it. And like I said, I was watching it today and I got teary-eyed at the end when he died and he was sitting like on his throne and his respect, looking up to him,
When they do the Vikings prayer at the end, it's very powerful, well shot. It's a scene that makes men cry. Mm-hmm. But no, like I'm saying, this movie's got so many great fucking lines in it. Like, give an Arab a sword, he makes a knife, things like that. And then like after he has this whole thingy and he just goes, when you die, can I give that to my daughter? It's just like those lines are so well done. Yeah. And overall, like after the first night with the Wendell, when they find him in the mud, and he's like, well, he didn't run. It's just like, this is it, as you say, Janet, it portrays the camaraderie of men at arms in such a good way, right? And something that I think people, I think it's something people who've been in the military understand, and as people who've been in any life or death or violent situations where you have to rely on a team of people, even if I don't like you, we have to work together so neither one of us gets hurt or worse. So the only way we're going to be able to pick on each other is verbally, because we can't fight each other, right? So we get that moment when he says we're going to miss Angus's sword tonight, after he cuts off Angus's head in that stupid pointless fight because of the princeling, right? Mm-hmm. That's the kind of stuff that makes this movie is very deep. It's much deeper than people think.
Yeah, people could watch it and just sit down and enjoy it for what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be entertainment. And if you just sit back and you don't have it prejudged and just watch it for what it is and what it's trying to tell you, I really do believe that more people would really enjoy this movie. I really do. It's just sad that people go to a movie and have a pre-existing, thought in their head because someone else told them something about it, and then that's all they see. They don't see anything else. They just see what the person told them. to see.
I can't look at my screen, Janet,
Why?
because you're creeping me out.
I know. That's what Bruce said. He said, don't show your camera until you go live. Because
Take
I
care,
said,
Tim.
I don't want to be somebody pretty every week. You know. I
No,
wanna-
it's you understand. It's equal parts hot and horror at the same time. So like you've hit the perfect balance of like sexy scary. It's creeping me out. Stop.
Well, she was creepy in the movie. I wish I'd had a snake. I dug and dug trying to find a snake to wear around my neck, but
Daryl, I might pronounce that name wrong. Apologize, Daryl. He asks, so why did this movie only bring in about 2/3 of its budget? There's a story behind that. Barry, you want to start off?
Well, about the fact that the audiences didn't like it because it's actually a good film that tells a story and requires you to think while you're watching it. Yeah, geez, there's a shocker that the average audience didn't like that.
The production on the movie was actually started, 3 years beforehand?
96.
Yeah.
The casting was 95, 96 was when I heard about it.
Yeah, so this movie had been in around, and they're starting to kick it around, get pre-production started, Daryl. And what happened was they actually made a full and complete film, complete with score, complete with everything, end effects, post effects, etc. And then they started shopping it with test audiences, and it was not well received. So Michael Crichton got behind it. He got a brand new score through
Jerry
Goldsmith. I'm sorry, I keep wanting to say Zimmer, but he gets Goldsmith in, and Goldsmith rescores it. They do some new edits. They do a little bit of ADR work. They do a few reshoots, and by the time it gets marketed, it's $160 million in 1999 for the completed project. In America, it wasn't marketed well because, like what Bear said, it's a well thought out movie, has a few thinking man action movie tropes in it, and doesn't go really too well the opening weekend. We had a half audience theater where I was at in Middle America, and some of those people left by the first 30 minutes, first 40 minutes. They just didn't like it. They didn't want to see a movie about foreign lands. They thought it was going to be Vikings and bloody and lots of action, and we didn't get that the first 40 minutes, and so they're gone. Probably about 10 to 15 people, and the theater's made for about 300. We only have about 150, so the movie wasn't well received. Then you have other critical reviews, which they didn't like it either because they're Americans, and it took them probably about 2 years to make the money up because this is a high end time of DVDs. They have DVDs out, and that seems to be like a second breath of income for a lot of movies. But if they don't make it well on the initial release, the DVD will at least help them recoup some losses. Maybe they can get to cost. And I think that's where the movie got to. I might be wrong. Might have taken them a few years to get to that, like maybe 2005, 2006. But this movie's original cost was supposed to be like $60 million, and it made $32 million just in America. It made another 60 overseas, so it did pretty well.
And it didn't come out on DVD until 2000. I think that's when they released it out, the late 2000 for that stuff. And I don't know about the other stuff when streaming and all that stuff, but it started picking up after it was released from the movie theaters.
I think this movie, another part of this film, it just kind of doesn't really grab audiences, is that not everybody's familiar with Vikings. Viking lore, we kind of have a bastardized idea of what Beowulf's about, and that's it. That's all we got, because Viking lore was mainly ruined by the Christians, which invaded Northern Europe, and they destroyed everything. They fucking even ruined the poem of Beowulf by making sure that there was God's throne mentioned in there. Heaven forbid.
Well, the movie came out with Angelina Jolie. Didn't she play the mother of him in another movie?
It's so bad.
Well, I never saw it, and I just like I said earlier, a lot of people judge it, and the reason I didn't see it is because I had 4 or 5 of my friends that said the movie was a stinker. It was horrible. Don't waste your money. So I didn't.
What's the one Sarah Polley was in? They did a Beowulf movie with Sarah Polley.
Well, I don't remember.
What the hell was that thing called? That was actually a good one.
I like Sarah Polley. She's not a good front woman, but she's good on the back end. Although she did great in
Beowulf and Grendel in 2005 with Gerard Butler. That's actually a good one. That's a decent one. We should watch that one, but it's a good one. Beowulf, the one they did with it was all animated, like they shot
CGI.
it, they CGI animated everybody, is just awful. With Christian, what's his name? Christian
Later.
No, the one who was
Might as well be
the father, the original father in Back to the Future. Christian Glover. Christian Glover. It's got Christian Glover as Grendel, and it's just an awesomely bad film.
I don't know. I don't know what the real issue is with this movie. I think it was marketed poorly. I don't think the studio execs know how to market a Northern European historical tale. I've never seen a well marketed Norse show up until Vikings came out. And what was that? 2012, 2013? And we have Game of Thrones to really thank for that to popularize it.
So do you want to know why this film didn't do well in the theaters?
Go.
Who is your white actor?
You have a whole bunch of them.
No, you don't. A bunch of unknown people from Europe that Americans have never heard of, and Antonio Banderas playing a Muslim. There was no white guy as that they could put. So if you'd taken Bovai and cast him with, I don't know, some famous white guy at the time, some famous white American male actor or star level actor.
That's probably why they were going with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Why the Schwarzenegger originally was probably being courted, yeah. It would have done a lot better. Problem is that your protagonist is in this case, Muslim, but Latino actor playing a Muslim, and all of the characters around him are white guys you've never heard of with weird accents. You know what I mean? And this film had so much stacked against it for the middle of America at that time. Remember, this is 1998, 1999. This is not a worldly time for Western civilization. No. And then it's going to get a lot worse a couple of years later, as we well know, and then we just go through that. It's only by about 2005, 2010, we start seeing a more worldly idea of cinema opening up for people, and they get a little more open-minded about things. Someone mentioned Braveheart and Gladiator. Yeah, absolutely historically inaccurate films, complete nonsense, but Mel Gibson, big star at the time, is going to do well. What's his name in Gladiator, the Australian? Huge star at the time, it's going to do well. This is the problem you have to deal with. And I tried to explain this to some people the other night, that this is when you're trying to make a movie and you're going to the distributors to sell your movie to generate the money you need to make the movie. The first fucking question they ask you is, who's your star? Who's your lead? Because they know how much every actor is worth in every market around the world. Well, Keanu Reeves might give us, $10 million from Southeast Asia, and he might do $15 million worth of business in Europe, and he does about, $10 million at home. So we'll give you a budget of $15 million. That's what we're willing to pay for this film. That's how their brains work. The only genre that doesn't do this is horror. Horror is the only one you can have no names and make your movie, and they're fine because horror sells in every market without stars. So now you got this movie. Antonio Banderas is your lead. What big films had Antonio Banderas done before this?
Desperado? Well, all I can tell you is the reason we went to see it is because my mother loved Omar Sharif. And she thought it was going to be a good movie because she loved him as an actor. So that's why we went to see it.
I mean, you do have the summertime hit from the year before, The Mask of Zorro.
Which was not a hit, by the way.
Even if that's the case, even with that being the case, I don't know anybody that saw it and said they didn't like it.
Oh no, everybody liked it. I know. I saw it in the theaters and I thought it was great. Mask of Zorro, but they were expecting it to be Batman, and it was not.
It was not. You're right.
So you got this guy who's been in Desperado. That's the other film that he's known for at this point in time. Well, there's star power.
Unless you want to say hey, he played Armand in Interview with the Vampire, and all the ladies completely dry up at that. Sorry, Janet. Yeah, there was no big film. He did Desperado as El Mariachi, and other than that, it was a lot of Spanish TV before that. Terra Nova, Mambo Kings, Uno Mujer Bajo Lluvia.
But the problem is, so he's nobody. So you've got no big name star in the film. at all in any way, shape, or form. So you're not going to drag asses to seats that way.
Yeah.
And you don't have some heroic white guy that all white middle American guys can relate to. So now they're checking out.
And
Now
really,
they're
we
bored.
should, because if he's a fucking Spaniard, he was born in Malaga.
Mhm.
That's not going to play for the Johnsons in Dubuque. You know what I mean? Come on. But that's the thing. This film, as Just a Passerby makes, this film does become a cult classic.
Yep.
It does find its audience eventually.
It had an audience to begin with, but it fucking fostered and grew over the decades. And I actually think that this is probably one of Antonio Banderas' best roles. I would stick my neck out and say that.
Best role. I can't think of another role he did where I'd say he was better than in this. So maybe Puss in Boots.
Puss in Boots is great. Don't knock the Puss in Boots. That's all I'm going to say.
I said, except if you want to say Puss in Boots. I wasn't knocking Puss in Boots. Janet, come on, Jesus.
I liked him in this movie, and I thought he was good in Zorro. So, I mean, I just thought he was a good actor in both of them. So I can't say anything negative about either one of them.
I want to say that this was kind of like the dawning of Antonio Banderas' career. This is probably the movie that made him. And in all honesty, like, he'd been in the game since '82 before that, and nobody remembered him. He was in Desperado. That's it. He was the Armand in Interview with the Vampire. And for American audiences, they're not going to remember that shit.
I remember him in the vampire movie, but I don't remember him in Desperado. I never saw Desperado.
It's basically a remake.
Yeah.
Of what is that fucking film? His first film. Jeez, I can't remember the director's fucking name now. Anyway,
it wasn't that memorable. I hate to say that Desperado movie is a lot better with the added budget.
So much.
What?
We will agree to disagree on that one. The original movie that what's his face made, the director. What is the fucking Robert Rodriguez. What was the original film he made? El Mariachi. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's the title character of Desperado.
Yeah, but that's why he remade the movie El Mariachi. But have you watched El Mariachi?
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's an amazing film for a guy who made the movie
on $10
by doing fucking medical experiments for drugs. That's insane. I love that movie.
I think it's a good movie. I just like Desperado a lot more because you're able to do more. I hate to say, I'm a basic bitch sometimes, but that movie is a perfect example of this is what you can do with a budget. It's amazing that we made Dark Star. Yes, I love Dark Star for its historical significance in 1974. However, I cannot value Dark Star when there's things like aliens out there.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I was like, all of a sudden, I was gone. That's weird.
That's the natures and wonders of the interwebs. I did not fuck with anything. I've been trying to get this damn mausoleum.
Remember, I got a bad storms. You haven't heard the thunder and stuff. So
Coco's like Desperado with a jeans commercial.
Fucking El Mariachi is such a better film.
It might be, but I like Desperado because I thought it told the story very well to mainstream audiences, which at the time I was happy to be a part of. The split for me happened in 2017 when, after I had seen hundreds of really good foreign films, America can't get the fuck off Disney and the MCU. I'm done.
Well,
okay.
Bears over there just playing with this black pussy, giving us a stink eye.
I'm not giving you stink eye. You want me to give you stink eye so you know what fucking stink eye looks like, motherfucker?
Stink. I call it stink eye.
You understand now? I had a class one time where one of the girls said, "I don't appreciate you yelling at us." And I went, "I'm not yelling. Would you like to see me yell?" And then I proceeded to yell at her. And she's like, okay, I see the difference. I'm like, good, I'm glad. Put Janet back up top, man. I don't want to be over Janet. Janet deserves the center stage.
No, I'm fine.
Janet deserves center stage. Don't, motherfucker.
So
Fine.
This movie is for all the critiques we got. I think this film really is just a good example of what you can do when you have a project you do believe in, and the John McTiernan. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know why Crichton felt that he could do a better job of directing it than him. I think there's a bit of ego there.
I think Crichton had a back end on the film too.
Yeah, he did have a serious financial gain on the back end.
Oh yeah, so he had an incentive to make sure the film performed better, right?
Yeah. So I'm not going to knock the guy for not trying to protect his financial interests, but I think John McTiernan, if there does it feel like there's studio interference in this movie?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sven Filka, this mausoleum is supposed to be for 28 or 25 millimeter figurines, like what we have here. This is out of the Bone Reaper 6.
So,
go ahead, Janet.
Well, what I wanted to ask was the money, because you said it was 160 million. Yeah. About that. Okay, was it because they filmed and then they had to refilm so much, so they had to add that extra money, another 80 million or something to
filming and refilming? But you're talking about having to get catering available. You're talking about having to do travel time, travel plans. There's so much involved.
I know, but how much was the first filming compared to the second one added on top of it? Is there any way to look that up to see how much you actually spent on all of that was basically shit that they didn't like, So is there any way to find that out? Because I looked when you were telling me about it earlier and I couldn't
really find is just on Wikipedia. That was the majority of the financial gains I was able to find.
Yeah, because that's interesting to me. Because you remember when we did the other movie, Cutthroat Island, and they were basically, in debt. They were in debt before the movie was started because they had wasted all the money. The production company, not the actual movie. So just because Bear's back, just because somebody says that it was a failure. Because remember when I saw it, I was like, why was this movie a failure? Because it was a great movie. I don't understand how it could be so bad. But when we looked into it and found out that the production company was already in debt for this movie before it even started filming. So not this one, not the one we're talking about right now, Bear. So I was interested in finding out how much they spent and then how much they had to spend the second time when they had to make all the, corrections to change it and make it better. You know what I mean? I'd like to know. That'd be interesting to me. Because they didn't change the actors so much except for the queen of the zombies or the vampires or cannibals, whatever you want to call them.
Wendell's mother.
So she didn't even, the actress that actually ended up playing her didn't even get credit.
No, supposedly. She didn't. She's only listed here. You can't find her on a VHS. You can only find her on IMDb or on Wikipedia, but they don't mention her at all on the VHS. Because whenever we first saw this movie, I was kind of curious about things, and so I went home, and whenever I looked up this lady that was supposed to be the Wendell's mother, I kept getting this 70-year-old lady. And
me too. That's why I was like, but the pictures I pulled up were the only two women. It was the beautiful one that was caring for Antonio Banderas' character, and then the old lady that was the seer or whatever you want to call for the Vikings, and then the other woman that played the queen of the.
I couldn't even find the name of the dog that I was curious about because I wanted to see more information about the dog actor. I'm sure that's out there. If I do a
Dogs that I saw in there, they look like Irish wolfhounds. Remember,
Yeah.
we talked about this before, and I brought that up, that the dogs that we watched that other movie, to me, resembled these in this movie. And these did look like Irish wolfhounds to me. So that'd be interesting to find out. But I didn't see anything about the dogs either. So, you know, can't always find the information you want.
and that's
Janet,
Mario.
if your character in the D&D game dies, you're going to have to play a barbarian, so you can dress like this every week for the game.
You won't be
Viewership shoots up. Suddenly, I've got 10,000 subscribers. What's going on?
Well, you know, I love this bra. I spray painted it and put the skulls on it and everything just so I could wear it for that one costume, and I never got to wear it. So I was like, hey, I'm going to play a vampire or a cannibal queen, so I'm going to wear these skulls. So I wanted to wear it today. So it's great. I love it.
Well done.
I think it's a cool
Still
bra.
can't look at you, but well done.
But I'm hideous. But she was hideous and she was scary. I mean, she was very, for someone who really didn't even speak in a movie, all she did was creep around with that claw sticking up. You know, I thought that was it just gave me the creeps. And when she scratched him on the arm, I knew he was going to die. You know what I mean? And then I was sad and I was thankful that when he chopped off her head, I was clapping because, you know, I was like, yeah, you damn bitch for killing him, because I loved his character. I thought he was a wonderful king.
For Daryl, there's this guy here that plays Beowulf as Vladimir Klitsch.
Yep.
And I want you to just check out his IMDb. He's in Equalizer, The 13th Warrior, Smoking Aces, and he plays in Vikings too. A lot of these guys that are Northeastern, they went to the TV show Vikings. And Vikings is pretty badass, but let's just scroll down and look at something he did back in 2010, voice work wise, that was released in 2011.
Okay.
Vladimir plays the voice of Ulfric Stormcloak. Skyrim is for the Nords. So just so you understand, this guy had a very good career, and he's still putting money together off his work. He's still making good residuals.
And he's a good actor. It's very believable. And this movie I loved all of them. I thought they did really good together. Just like in Rob Roy, I loved Rob Roy. It's one of my favorite movies. I love the beautiful scenery in this one too, even though it was foggy a lot and rainy a lot, but it was so believable. And I could just stand there on one of those hills and just look around and look at the beautiful mountains and the foliage. And it was just, I just love that type of stuff. Just like
Have you ever been to the Pacific Northwest, Janet?
I've been up to the mountains and stuff. Yeah, up in like Montana. I haven't been to Canada since I was a baby. So I would.
No, I mean the coast. Like get out to the Pacific Northwest, which is like the other side.
In Oregon,
you have like British Columbia, Washington State. Like no,
yeah,
Oregon's a little too.
I lived in Washington.
So you know, like that's all Vancouver. That's all British Columbia where they shot this film, right? So it's all.
I know it's gorgeous.
It is amazing how much British Columbia looks like Norway. It's disturbing how much they look alike. It's really cool.
So pretty.
It's one thing. I miss it. I really miss waking up, going to the kitchen, making my coffee, and staring at mountains every morning.
I could do that. I could sit on a porch every single day and see that and love that and not miss it at all. I could do that because that to me, I never see nature. They see grass coming out of a crack.
When you live in Vancouver, you're in the city, but the mountains are right fucking there.
Yeah,
because you're in the Lower Mainland, which is this narrow stretch of land between the mountains and the sea, right? Or the Strait of Georgia. It's amazing, and it really does. Like it's something when you first go there, you're like, oh, whatever, and then you live it and you see it, and you see these mountains every day, and the cedar everywhere, and the Douglas firs, and you're just like, this place is fucking insanely beautiful. Like, good God, like. Wow, it blows your mind. It's so fucking gorgeous, and that they captured it so well on film. Like it's insane how good it is.
It is beautiful. Just like all the movies, I go on and on about the horses running through the the canyon and all that. It's just gorgeous. Like, what was the movie that we watched? And it was it had the Indian girls so that were being murdered. I'm trying to remember the name of it again.
Are being murdered or kidnapped? Because
No, they were
murdered would
being
be Wind
murdered.
River.
Remember? Yeah,
Are you talking? Are you
Wind
talking
River.
about
The
Wind
beauty in
River?
Wind River. I
Yeah.
just love. I could just look at that kind of stuff. For days, basically, because it's so
90% of
breathtaking.
humanity could.
I just love it, and
You,
that's
you
what
know
this
what,
had. This had a lot of
what?
beauty in it.
What's really weird is that whenever you get into situations like that, like how bad is a homeless situation in Vancouver? Can I ask, Bear?
Or hideous, and it always has been.
Really?
Like, that's the thing; it's always been bad.
I would have never figured that because I would have thought that that would have been something that they kind of would kind of curtail against, and they would fix that social ill in an environment where no.
No, so one of the things you have to understand about Vancouver is the city of Vancouver was mostly made successful by hippie boomers moving out there when it was cheap to buy land and then driving up the value of the city. But
Yeah.
they've infiltrated every level of civil government and all that kind of stuff. So I used to do security there and I worked very closely with the police all the time. And they would get so mad because it's like, okay, they just busted a guy for shooting heroin. They take, on a street corner, they take him in, they process him, they do 2 hours of processing time. He sits in a cell, makes his one phone call to the justice, gives a promise to appear for his court date, and they have to release him right away. And then 2 hours later after that, so 4 hours after they arrest him, he's back shooting heroin on a fucking street corner. So the cops just give up. They don't care anymore. They don't bother. They don't enforce the little laws because they can't, and their hands are tied. And every time they try and get a little more draconian about it, the fucking hippies living in Kitsilano and all the nice parts of Vancouver go all like, "Oh, you can't do that." But all of us who are living on the east side are like, "No, could you please do that? Could you please clean this shit up?" Because look, dude, I worked in a place that was called right next to the downtown east side. Now, the downtown east side is a part of Vancouver that's the poorest postal code in Canada. It used to be the downtown of Vancouver until it moved over to Granville. And it's just crackheads and heroin junkies. It's insanity. I worked security at a complex near there that was being developing the area to try and make it more gentrify essentially. And I remember one night I ran off these fucking crackies from the parkade for something and everything. 8 in the morning, I go home, I get off the SkyTrain. I'm walking down my street, still live on the east side of the city. I'm walking down my street towards my apartment, still in uniform, and I see the same 3 fucking crackheads sitting in front of my apartment building smoking crack on the lawn. So me being me in uniform, I walk up to them. I go, "I thought I fucking told you to leave." And their eyes went as big as saucers, right? Because they're high as fuck. So as far as they can tell, I've magically just reappeared in their world and like, what the fuck? And they ran away. But that's the kind of shit you deal with. In Montreal, I know 3-4 people who've had their cars broken into. In Vancouver, I don't know anyone who hasn't had their car broken into multiple times. The property crime rates there are insane. The homelessness is insane because it doesn't get very cold in the winter. So what was happening in the 90s was a lot of the other provinces, and Ontario got busted for this, were giving their homeless people bus tickets. They were paying bus tickets to send them to Vancouver to get them out of their cities. So they flooded Vancouver with homeless people.
Amarillo does that to San Antonio and Corpus Christi all the time. More Corpus Christi than Amarillo or than San Antonio, but still, it's a real problem. The one thing I love about my job is that my job stinks. The moment I turn on pumps, everybody hears my truck burping in the wind, and it's not a pleasant smell for most normal people. So if I've got indigenous persons near me, it's a very quick solution for me to just turn on the pump and just let the truck breathe, pop a top of a tank, and then just start having that. I'll be by myself within 5 minutes. It's great. I'm sorry, Barry. You don't have a CDL and you don't do this.
Chemical warfare, I get it.
I fucking love chemical warfare.
That's disgusting.
It's great. Before we go into the scores, next week we have a choice. We have either the 1990, no, excuse me, the 2000. Both movies are 2002. 2002 film with Christian Bale, directed by Kurt Wimmer, Equilibrium. Or we can watch Kurt Russell crime drama set in 1992 called Dark Blue.
I haven't seen either one, so
I
I've
can't
never
believe
seen
that.
either one of them.
Both movies are fucking.
Equilibrium has a fantastic line a buddy of mine said after watching because I quite enjoyed it. And he goes, "Really? You like the movie where the underground was literally underground?" And I'm like, "All right, that's fair. That's a fair cop on that movie." I don't care. Either one's good for me. I've never seen the Kurt Russell one. I love Kurt Russell, so that could be fun. Oh wait, no, I think I did see it many moons ago.
I haven't seen either one. So
Well, I'm
whichever
good
one
for
you guys want to watch, just flip a coin.
Just make a choice, Bruce.
All right,
Yeah.
fine. Dark Blue.
There we
Right.
go.
We'll watch Dark Blue next week. We'll watch Equilibrium. We'll resume during the month of Thanksgiving whenever we need to have happy feels.
Make sure you let me know in advance when we're going to do Sicario.
That's a tough watch.
Okay, because I already have my outfit and everything for that. But
Okay.
we have a couple people that want to make sure they come see it.
Why? What are you going to dress up as?
I have a bodysuit, FBI like police outfit. So they picked it out for me. So that's what I'm going to wear. Because they're the ones that asked me to request that movie. So we'll see.
Well, I do have to give you kudos because your costume today has made my penis extremely confused. So well done.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. That's not what I was meaning to do. I just wanted to play something different than the, pretty blonde or the redhead or whatever.
Again, it's a great costume, Janet. It's just confusing.
Well,
The United States.
Yeah.
As much as I know Canadians have Thanksgiving, I typically don't celebrate a lot of Thanksgiving or a lot of Canadian holidays. It's no offense to the Canadians. I'm just not part of your quote unquote your calendar culture, so I don't know.
Do you know what Canadian Thanksgiving is, right? Because it's the same in the UK too.
No.
It's Harvest Festival because it happens at the time of the end of harvest when you've harvested everything and you have a big community meal.
Yeah.
Your guys' Thanksgiving is the fucking weirdo.
I'm not saying it isn't. I think it's weird to have Thanksgiving when it fucking snows out. But apparently
it's so strange. We're just like, why are you doing
some countries they have snow, more snow than other countries, like Norway and
Canada.
If we have snow where I live, if we have snow where I live, people have like depression. Suicide rates go up in San Antonio. Why do you think I pray for snowflakes?
I don't know. I didn't know you did. So there you go. But I'm just saying, I love snow. I love the smell. I love skiing.
I moved out of Illinois.
I love sledding. I love all that stuff. And every time I've ever lived anywhere with snow, I loved it.
You know what I love to do is look at photos and pictures and videos of Eastern Europe, Hungary, Poland during wintertime. That looks great, right? I would never want to be there. My bones, my joints would be kicking my ass. I'm good. You guys.
Eskimos lived in it for generations, and they seem fine with achy bones or whatever it is that they have. They're probably really healthy.
They probably really are. Bruce is not.
No, snow does not have a smell. I don't know. When she said that, I was
no,
like,
I mean the crispness of the air. It's so. To me, I can walk and I can just smell the air. It's so crisp and clean, and it's just
when it snows, they've studied it now. The flakes of snow act as not an audio suppressant, but an audio absorber. So that's why when you're walking in the woods or you're walking and it's a snowing day, everything is so quiet.
Oh,
it's because the snow is absorbing the sound for some reason, some scientific reason for that. And it's I used to, when I was a kid, I used to love go walking out when it's snowing, go walking in the woods.
Love it.
And, it's fucking brilliant.
It is. It's just nothing like it. I mean, to me, it's like a blanket. It's cleaning the planet, or cleaning the wherever you're living, because it's taking all the stuff out of the air. So the air is so crisp and just.
And when it snows, it takes the cold out of the air too, which is nice.
And Vince Filka says something. If you like what Janet looks like, you might go to Walmart. You see a couple people that look like that.
What part of I'm confused by what Janet looks
they're
like?
wearing pajamas, most likely. I see so many people wearing PJs at Walmart. It's just scary if you think about it. And they wear slippers. They don't even wear shoes. So, well.
I might be moving to the Maritimes next year. We'll see.
The Maritimes?
Well, I made a rule for myself when I moved to the basement, my last place. I said, well, next move is out of Quebec. I'm done with Quebec. And then I had to move up to this apartment last minute because of the building sale and all that. So it
Mhm.
didn't count. So this lease is up in 2026. And unless I have a job that requires me to stay here and is like lots of money, I'm
Mhm.
moving the fuck out of Quebec finally. I'm getting out. I hate this province. And I was going to go out west. I was going to go to Regina, which is on the prairie. But a buddy of mine was talking to me about St. John, New Brunswick, and I love New Brunswick. He was explaining to me, I was like, holy shit, you actually convinced me to consider St. John now. Like, thanks, really good. So maybe if everything goes well, I'll be able to post videos of really cool walks in the winter woods.
Mm.
I would like to see you move to New Brunswick. I've seen video of it. That's kind of north of Minnesota, right?
No, New Brunswick is north of Maine.
Okay. I'm
Now,
not
Saskatchewan's north of the Dakotas.
I'm not up on my Canadian geography. I only know about Edmonton. Sorry.
That's
and
okay.
I know about Niagara. That's about it. The rest of it's one white mass on the map I've not been to. I haven't explored it yet.
I've never been to Niagara yet, and I want to go so bad. I want to go on a trip to go there and go to Newfoundland.
There's three things about Niagara that are a lot of fun. One, when you see the city of Niagara, which is just like our version of Las Vegas, and it's sad and it's depressing and it's very touristy.
Yes.
Then you get to the falls. And the first thing you see when you get to the falls is you see the American Niagara Falls. And you go, oh, those are very nice. Yes, those are impressive. And then you turn your head and see the Canadian.
Entire fucking Canadian falls.
And you just go, oh,
holy shit.
Yeah. That's what everybody tells me. Everybody tells me that. I tell people when you get to go see Mount Rushmore, if you haven't seen it, you need to go see it and go when it's first opening early in the morning and be walking around and see the mist clear out and get to see it. It's so majestic. It's just breathtaking. It's just beautiful. And driving up there and everything in the countryside and everything, it's just, but I like doing that. See, I'm one of those people that can go on a sightseeing drive, for 4 or 5, 6 days straight, and just drive and get out and look and just enjoy the beauty of our own country, of the earth.
By the way, King Eric, I can't say PEI. I have a sister who lives in Charlottetown. I don't care for PEI, but New Brunswick I love. New Brunswickers are the nicest people in Canada. Like, it's insane how nice they are.
The barrel ride was pretty
cool. The barrel ride is pretty cool, huh?
Well, you never know. Listen, I haven't made my decision up, Coco. I'm either going to go to Regina or I'm going to go to St. John. It's all going to be based on what my job is next July 2026, and what apartment prices are like.
Oh, God. Billy, come on! Whee!
Oh, yeah.
That was perfect Darwinism. Fucking Superman had to ruin it.
Well, I know you.
These days you got to work
that kid. I'm telling you right now, Bruce, you were that kid. You're the kid that would lick the pole and get your tongue stuck. I'm sure you were.
I've never licked a fucking pole in the cold.
But in the heat. Oh, he's all about licking poles in the heat.
Yeah.
I not about the extremes. I tell you what, like the one time, the dumb shit that I do nowadays is things I've measured, like pulling a magnet out of my pocket at a fucking pinball arcade and manipulating the ball for about a good solid 4 minutes before I get caught.
Why the fuck would I want to live in Moose Jaw? No.
You don't want to live in a place called Moose Jaw?
No, and I don't want to live in Medicine Hat either. Or Dildo, Newfoundland. I don't want to live there either. Moose Jaw.
Well,
I just got to say,
take a trip there.
Bear, you would probably do really good in Rochester.
What the fuck is Rochester?
It's just on the other side of Buffalo from you.
Oh, Rochester.
Rochester.
Yeah, no thanks. I don't want. Okay, let me make this clear to you. I don't, and everybody else who keeps telling me, I don't want to live in America. I'm good. Thanks.
Hater.
No, your medical system, I have to take pills every month, every day. I'm not paying your fucking prices for my medicines because they're insane. Everybody goes, well, if you live in Texas, you can go to Mexico and get them. I don't want to go to Mexico to get my pills. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Most Texans
Want to go
don't
to the
want them
pharmacy?
either.
I know
Yeah.
Texans that go down south all the time for their pills. They go down there,
Yeah,
they
but
grab
what a
some
shame.
food.
We live in a country that you think we should be able to have a better price on our medicine, and we have to go to Mexico to get medicine. I think that's ridiculous.
I mean, we also go to Mexico to grab meat.
I
too.
think Bear's right. If I was him, I would stay in Canada too and just drive into the United States when you want to, but not because you have to.
I love going to the States. Nothing I love more than going to an American grocery store. You guys blow my mind with your grocery stores. Like, I literally cannot get my brain around how your grocery stores work. They're so insanely large, and you have so many fucking things. Like, it's just insane.
Okay, if you want to feel like home, go to either a Trader Joe's or an Aldi's. You got like 4 or 5 aisles, and the aisles don't connect, so it's just a linear path that you're forced to take a shopping cart through. You grab things. Both stores owned by the same family, and so they only get supplies from like one supplier or two at most. You don't have 40,000 choices of peanut butter. You don't have
I
60.
like that you have 40,000 choices of peanut butter. Okay,
I don't
if
have
I go
peanut
to if I go to the soft drink road at a Canadian grocery store, okay, there's going to be 7, maybe 8 choices for the sugary stuff, and maybe 5 choices for the stuff without sugar. I walk into an American grocery store, like, and I'm not talking about like in the middle of Boston. I'm talking about like right over the fucking border here in upstate New York. They have all these, like, you go in and it's like you go to the aisle, there's like 800 flavors and there's like 70 choices without sugar. It's like, how does this sell enough that these things are viable economic products? But fucking brilliant, you know?
Yeah.
You obviously, like, I would just say go to the Trader Joe's or Aldi's.
Why would I want to do this, Bruce? Why would I want to go to a shitty thing with low selection when I'm in America?
But one, the prices on that are excessively low because they have.
I can get excessively low here. I'm going for the.
How much do you pay for a pop? How much do you pay for a pop right now?
Here,
yeah, for a can of soda,
case of 12 cans is usually $7-8.
12-pack of store brand pop, which means there's 10 varieties of it. You've got your Dr. Pepper knockoff, got your Coke knockoff,
Yeah, I get
your
it.
orange, your grape, your fucking lime, lime bullshit. That's at most $6 at either Trader Joe's or HEB. And those are for the store brands.
I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for, holy fuck, look at that. Cherry tea diet 7-Up. How the fuck is this a thing? You know, that's what I'm looking for. Okay. And that's why I go to the bigger stores, because they have great prices. For a Canadian, they're great prices. Mm-hmm. And the selection is mind-numbing. I fucking went grocery shopping in Burlington, Vermont. I went down to visit me and my buddy drove down to visit a friend of ours who lives in Burlington, April, who plays in some of my games and is writing on Heroic. So we went to Burlington for the day. And I said, you know what? While we're here, I might as well hit a grocery store and we'll just drive the groceries back. Let's do it. We went to the grocery store. We were there for 2 fucking hours. 2 fucking hours in a grocery store by the time we had done every fucking row. You know, it was like, what the fuck? This is insane.
Oh, thank you, Daryl.
When I was in Michigan, went to the this grocery store in Massachusetts. I was in Massachusetts for Keurig. We were in Burlington, again, Massachusetts. We went to the grocery store near the hotel just to pick up stuff because we were there, you know, for a week. Let's get some stuff for the hotels. We have shit, you know, lying around. We don't pay the hotel prices. Holy fuck, there were 32 rows in the store. 32 fucking rows. It was like, why? I love it. I love it. It's brilliant. It's amazing. You guys do excess in a way not seen since the Roman Empire. It's fucking genius.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like excess.
I really think you're right on that. And I actually, one of the reasons why I couldn't leave where I live now, if I couldn't do what Janet did, just up and move out of the big city and go to the fucking sticks where there's no fucking beer sold for like 70 miles. Nah, fuck you.
Yeah, it's I'm in a dry county now. So it's like it took at first I cried a lot because I was like, I used to be able to drive, you know, a half a block and go through the drive-thru, get a daiquiri and take it home and then watch a movie or even a gallon.
Container.
Yeah, in a container, you know, but still I didn't have to
open
make it.
Container. You could sip it if you
want.
want.
But you're not supposed to.
Oh no, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to have sex before marriage either. But nope, there we are.
But the thing is,
I want to go to Texas so I can
thought-
go to Bucky's.
You want what?
I want to go to Texas so I can go to Bucky's.
yeah, you need to go to.
You'll go nuts, dude.
Love it.
You'll go to Bucky's. You'll go nuts because that fucking beaver shop is like the size of one of your major department stores.
I
And
know.
It's a fucking. We call it a convenience store.
I know. You people are insane. I love it.
Yeah, they like food. They like the varieties too.
But I don't want to live
For those that don't know what Bucky's is, hold on. We'll get a. Yes, I know. We've gone over Bucky's on this channel before,
hmm
but Bucky's is a huge fucking place.
120 gas pumps. Like, what the fuck?
That's the New Braunfels store.
Yeah, they have everything. Well, pretty much everything.
Apparently their barbecue is really good. From everybody I've seen on YouTube that's gone, this is actually decent barbecue.
Their barbecue is nuts.
Yeah, here you go.
So
What's the biggest? There's one that's like the biggest one that they always keep going to in Texas.
That's New Braunfels.
Okay.
The New Braunfels store, but the one in Tennessee, I believe, is larger. Crossville. They got both 87 octane and 90 octane.
Are there any in Arkansas?
No.
I didn't think
Alabama, Colorado. But
just one.
yeah,
I wonder if you can get weed at the one in Colorado.
that would
Probably.
be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you probably could.
Let's just go to the images of this.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
do a couple on the inside.
There's like tons of YouTube videos, people going to Bucky's and just walking around with a camera and being like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is this is not the New Braunfels location because I don't remember. It's this car wash and vacuum station there.
Mhm.
But you've got over 80 pumps here. This is on I-10, I think. This is crazy. I mean,
Insane, man. It's insane.
Yeah, there you go. Look at it. It's got a car wash and everything.
this is the gas station in Florida. My bad. They have rhino tacos, which are like not actual rhino, but they have bacon, beef, sausage, a few varieties of vegetables like potatoes, some peppers. But
Ow, my diabetes. Oh.
yeah, your diabetes acts up real good. They have a.
Have you been tested for diabetes?
Me?
Yeah.
I have pre-diabetes, which means no, I don't have diabetes.
Okay. Mm.
I like how you guys call it pre-diabetes, like it's a prequel. Here we call it metabolic syndrome, but like I love that you guys call it pre-diabetes. It's the precursor. It's the show before diabetes. Bruce, do me a favor, my brother in Christ. If you are pre-diabetic, do whatever you need to do to not become diabetic, because as a diabetic, it sucks.
Yeah, I know. I'm doing my best. I jumped my protein intake to 125 grams a day.
Yeah.
So that's one way you can help combat that.
Yeah, I'm doing kind of a carnivore diet right now myself. Not the full carnivore diet, but pretty close. And I got to say, I feel a million times better.
Yeah.
And then the game night, Friday night, I treated myself because I'm like, well, it's been a while and I'm going to have something I don't want to cook before the game. So I ordered some chicken fingers and onion rings from the place that I get them from. And I ate that and I wanted to fall asleep. Like the carbs made my body just go, ugh, So I'm telling you, this carnivore thing is amazing. It gets a bit boring, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. I sleep through the night, Bruce. I don't wake up to take a piss at 4 a.m. anymore.
That's absolutely nuts.
I'm 54 years old and I can sleep through the fucking night.
I told you,
I'm 54 and
everybody
diabetic.
you know that is in their 60s that started the carnivore diet says they feel like they're in their 40s.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But it's
'Cause we're
boring.
supposed
It's so
to be
fucking boring. It's so boring.
meat eaters.
But I mean, hot sauce is allowed, so at least I can put flavor on my meat. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce, bring us
And
back. I want to see our faces. I miss our faces.
they're
Okay.
making more of all kinds of barbecue sauce and different things like that with that are don't have tons of sugar or even any sugar. They use honey and other natural ingredients.
Well, honey, you got to be dangerous because while honey's natural, it does have a high glycemic index for diabetics, so it's not an option usually.
Yeah.
Even all the other stuff in honey is great. You got to be careful. Sweeteners are fine. I just don't like anything that's sweetened with stevia because stevia has this weird ass bitter aftertaste, and I can like whenever something has stevia, I'm like, oh, that's sweetened with stevia, isn't it? No, give me my aspartame. I'm fine with my aspartame. Like
Cancer.
Yeah, I don't eat anything with aspartame in it.
So the Canadian Diabetes Association decided to do a study on aspartame because they were worried that they were recommending something to their members that was unhealthy. So they did a really, really big study on aspartame effects on humans. And they came back. You know what their result was? Yes. If you were to consume the equivalent of like 6 2-liter bottles of diet soft drink a day every day for a year, you would have negative side effects from aspartame. But you would have negative side effects from anything you consume that much of, right? So yes, you can use it within reason without it causing negative effects for you. But there's other ones too. But stevia, I just can't stand. Stevia is just, no.
I'm not a big fan of a lot of diet drinks anyway. So we have a thing down here called sweet tea, which is the quickest way to lose your teeth.
Yeah, it's iced tea to the rest of us.
No, it's sweet tea.
I don't drink it.
5-gallon, 5-pound bag of sugar added to normal sweet tea or normal tea, and it tastes delicious. And you get used to it after like just a year. You go back home.
So you like
yeah,
McAllister's tea then, Bruce?
What?
McAllister's tea.
I've been.
It sounds like you're drinking that.
Yeah, this stuff here. Like if you go anywhere else after you drank Texas sweet tea for about 2 years, and like I go back to Illinois where I'm from, and I'm like, hey, let me have some iced tea, and they give it to me, and I take a sip of it, and it tastes like the most god awful bitter stuff in the world. I'm like, the fuck you trying to do to me? Trying to kill me? Because I think like whatever they've done with the tea, it's not right. But I go to Tivana, and Tivana does things right. So anyway.
Well, there we go. I think we're done talking about the movie. Let's get our ratings in, eh?
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. I'm glad the concert was good. He saw Maynard doing Perfect Circle, and the other band he does, it's not Tool, and there was another band with him. But we were talking about Stabbing Westward the other night, and he was discussing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you've seen the movie The 13th Warrior, which all of you should have, and if you've not, get a Tubi account, which costs you nothing, a little bit of email back and forth for about 30 seconds, get a Tubi account and go to Tubi and watch The 13th Warrior because you can see it for free. It'll cost you about an hour and 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Do it.
So, I'd like to know your scores, audience. And Janet will have the pleasure of reading those off once she sees them.
Okay.
Bear,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think about 13th Warrior?
So you know my system. It's no, meh, or yeah. Yeah. 2 times yeah.
Awesome. Janet.
Well, I do mine, from 1 to 10, basically. And I really enjoyed the movie, so I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
An 8 out of 10?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've seen this movie a lot, probably about once every 5 years. It happens across my desk, and I like to watch it. It's not the world's best or worst historical fantasy fiction film, but it's a lot of fun. And I think that for all the faults the movie has, I think there's a lot of things in it does really well. I don't have any real complaints about the practical effects. I think the lighting is superb. Found out about it the first time today. I was today years old when Bear told me that this movie was all natural lighting, no fake bullshit lighting in this movie whatsoever. So it gives it a very organic look, very much lit by the fire look throughout the entire film, start to finish.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just observe it and you'll understand exactly what I'm saying. For those of you that have seen this movie, I think this movie is probably a good precursor of what was to come, because this was kind of like the first Gen X movie about Viking culture that I can remember. TV show, yeah. I mean, other than like if you played with Beowulf in your D&D campaign and nobody was doing mainstream shit with that in 1999, you know. So this movie here, for me, it scores a solid 90 out of 100. Very few films rate that high for me, but
Mhm.
as I watch it year after year, I think it gets better,
Yeah,
and that's what I'm going to say.
that is a high rating for Bruce. I'm really surprised. Oh, he's going to give it a 9, just like you did. So that's good. I mean, that's a good rating. That's better than I gave it.
Oh, no, I
Um,
mean, this movie good. It does a lot of things right. There's very little the movie really does wrong. Just some small beats here and there, but I'm not going to slam it for the fact that Antonio Banderas plays either a partial Muslim or partial Christian. I'm not going to worry about that. I think the movie has a lot of good notes towards spirituality and religion, which people should probably examine a little harder. But I don't think that it's historical fact. I think this movie is just as what it is. It's a good point in time to where you have a society that's being exposed to the Beowulf story on the mainstream screens for the first time in the way that probably happened. Because Beowulf is a fun story, but we know that Grendel wasn't real. We know that Grendel's mommy wasn't real. So this is probably as close as it got historical fact wise.
9.5 Crafting Gamer. That's a good score too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is a good movie. And thank you for playing it for me, because I asked for it before, and then when all the changes that happened with channel and stuff, and
There wasn't any channel changes. It's just my fucking Discord got hacked by a piece
well,
of
I
human
mean,
debris.
yeah, all that stuff, we lost all the information, so we were having to work back up on our list again.
I'm most upset about the fact that I lost all of Chimerian's notes on his rants, and I wanted that.
Yeah. Well, won't that come back once you get it fixed?
I don't know. I don't know if they'll get me my old server back with all the saved information or not. The guy might have even deleted everything. I think he might have deleted it all.
Well, I don't know, but Chimerian is rating at 8.5. That's pretty good too.
Yeah.
See, that's why I was surprised when you were telling me about how much money it made and stuff. I was really shocked, because when I went to the theater, it was full. You know,
Okay,
it was
I
full.
lived in Decatur, Illinois
Mm-hmm.
at the time of this movie's release.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie was not playing to the urban hip hop crowd. It was not playing to the crowd of people that wanted to be considered cool. It was coming off of it was being advertised as a film by John McTiernan, and so you had the action movie crowd go there and try to watch it. A lot of them did enjoy it for what it is. In the theater, the first time you watch it, you're kind of like, well, that was different. But then over the course of 2 or 3 decades, over the cost of 2 or 3 decades, like you have reflections, you watch it, you discuss it with your friends, you have good times based around this movie. This movie has improved with age over time. I can't rate it like I would have in 99, because I would say, oh, it'd probably be a 65. But this movie has contributed so heavily to my friendships and relationships with my family and friends that I would say that this movie has greatly improved itself just for being a solid film to have on and show to people, just to introduce people to it, because it's a crowd pleaser and it really does some good things with the narrative beats. As much as we could bitch and moan about the fact the old lady didn't get to fight Beowulf at the end before he hacked her down mercilessly. I like the young, healthy Britney Spears wannabe chick that he ripped apart with a sword. I like that. I think this was probably the introduction for a lot of guys my age to Norse culture. Even though many of us have been playing D&D since our, teen and single digit years, this movie here really led it to a lot of friends. I remember the game stores were talking about this. So I don't really think this movie is hopefully I hope this movie never gets, buried or lost, I hope this movie doesn't have like a Disney's Togo situation happen to it. Sven Filka, I agree with you. He's only in St. Louis. Everything I've seen so far says he's in St. Louis, so I might have to stop whenever I go visit mom and dad. But I think this movie is great, and I hope each and every one of you that like this movie, I hope you guys show it to your friends that haven't seen it yet. A lot of us have kids, so why not show them this film? Why not put this on one day whenever they're there? You got family gathered for Memorial Day or for 4th of July, and you've done your due diligence as a patriot, etc., etc. Throw this in the VCR, throw it in the DVD player, grab it off Tubi, put it on the main screen, and for an hour and 40 minutes, take a trip back to 1999 when we didn't have a good grasp of quote unquote historical relevancy, and we just made movies just for fun and popcorn eating. This movie does a very good job of that. Daryl, I agree with you. Thank you, sir. Bear, before we leave, did you want to talk to people about anything you have going on? You want to tell them about the fact you've got Janet on a Wednesday night D&D game?
No, Janet can talk about that.
Okay. Janet.
Dude, I'm not a self-promoter. You know that.
Oh,
Okay,
well,
no. I was just going to say that, you've got this wonderful thing called Heroic, and you've got a nice little Patreon for $5 and get a lot of stuff. If you want to know about a superhero game, I would suggest getting into Bear's $5 tier for his Patreon. I think that's the only tier he's got.
No, there's a $10 tier, which has more stuff.
Okay, but the $5 tier is great because you get probably a binder full every month of NPCs and ideas.
You get 5 posts every week. Every weekday, you get a lore, mechanics, adventure, or something post in the morning, and at lunchtime, you get an NPC. That's what you get every day.
Yeah, months of reading material.
Music.
No, that's the $10 tier. It gets.
I know, but you have that. And some of it's really darn good. So I was going to say. So yeah, he has a tier with music on it. He's writing his own music for his game.
Well, I'm creating it and then using AI to generate it. So if you're anti-AI, stay with my Patreon because you'll hate it.
It's still good. It's entertaining.
Yes, Janet is a legend on the Wednesday game. It's very true.
Oh,
she actually lived the meme.
That's all I can do.
Janet lived the meme. I loved it. She was the bard playing the flute to their death.
Well, I didn't know what else to do. I thought, well, that's all I can do is stand by the door and play for them while they die.
Was so fucking funny. Oh my god, people have still commented on that session as being the funniest thing they've ever seen in a live stream. Was watching these people fall apart. It was hilarious.
But it wasn't just me. There was the whole team.
Everybody.
Yeah, it was a little of everything.
So next week, come by here about 2:30 in the afternoon Central Standard Time. We're going to discuss the Kurt Russell classic crime film Dark Blue. Look forward to it. If you're a snowflake, if you are sensitive, this is not the movie you want to watch with us. This is not the movie you want to hear discussed with us. This movie is a rough watch. It is set during the time of the Rodney King beating and murder trial. Or the beating trial. So just be aware of that. I'm giving you your route now.
Yeah, I've never seen it, so I have no idea what's going to happen.
Till then, my name is Bruce, and I paint for a hobby. With me is Bear and Janet. We'll see you in a week.